minutes early.
Good. We can start. Oh, oh, oh.
There we go.
Let's frame up here. This is the centering piece. See? Look at that. Shit. God damn. Technical difficulties.
Technically, it's difficult. That thing is.
Well, hunks of plastic for a one-off joke for a web series that yeah. I mean,
No, it's hardcore.
now it's hardcore.
No, it's hardcore.
Now it's hardcore. All right. You know what? There's.
The funny thing is, like, if this was actually like a piece of like metal, that actually wouldn't look so bad.
Yes, if it wasn't a piece of crap, it wouldn't be a piece of crap.
There.
Way to go, Jesse Long.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
All right. Let's.
So I gotta angle this down.
You could.
There we go. There we go.
Okay. Ready? Why is it still set on poker? I don't want to play poker. Yeah.
You got your coffee?
I got my coffee.
You got your coffee. I got my coffee.
All right.
There's a straw in it for you.
I missed the hole.
That's what she said.
Is it?
Nope.
Good morning, everyone. I am the Sussman, Rick Sussman. Joining me, as always, for Wrestle Crush Whenever is the American Dadass, Jesse Long.
Emphasis on whenever, because it's been a month.
We are coming to you live today.
We are alive.
It is Saturday.
Are any of us really alive, Rick?
Saturday the 14th of July, which if you're a fan of early or late 80s, early 90s cinema, you would know that Saturday the 14th is worse than Friday the 13th.
Oh.
It was like a kids like Nickelodeon style comedy TV movie.
I vaguely remember something like
Saturday the 14th. Like a Freaky Friday kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crap.
Also, 34 years ago today, Black Saturday, Vince McMahon buying Georgia Championship, the controlling ownership in Georgia Championship Wrestling, shows up on the Superstation.
Oh yeah, that's
34 years ago today.
The one time that the WWF was part of the NWA.
Yeah, and then it sparked Ted Turner buying shit. Good times.
Oh yeah, one of the cats didn't make it up to the holding pen, so you'll hear Peggy throw it sporadically. She's 22. She's almost older than you.
Almost.
Yeah. So
older than some of our wrestling friends.
Way older than one. This week's episode is brought to you by What the Hell is Going On, made possible by Is That Really Happening, and finally,
What the shit?
We might as well get to it because we have been missing for a while. Yep. So let's start from the top. First, although it is Team Hammerfist style to be a day late and a dollar short, here are our official Wrestling Nerd Radio Network logo tees with the pride flag for the month of June here in July.
Yes.
We tried. Damn it, we tried.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did have a...
Well, we shouldn't, because you're only allowed to celebrate, you're only allowed to support gay people in June, though. So.
True.
We technically shouldn't. We're not allowed to.
Yeah, I don't support Effie or Pero anymore.
No. Matter of fact, I hate all gay people. every day of every month except for in June.
Look, it's corporate America.
It's corporate America.
Good to meet you.
Yeah. I shun half of my wife the rest of the year.
Yes. Actually, for a small independent wrestling radio network promotion, we actually had a successful buys, plural. There was a plural. So there was money donated. Shut up. Yeah. Donated. We spread the word of awesomeness, and you'll see these shirts a lot in the coming weeks because of the Wrestling Nerd Radio Network.
And they're good shirts. They're really good.
Well, that and we'll be, we have confirmations that at least one of us should be at Fest, and then we have even further confirmations that actually both of us will be at Punk Pro Wrestling at the end of August.
The form still has to be. It's making the rounds at corporate.
Get that shit notarized.
Do we know any notary publics?
I actually used to be one.
I was about to make the joke. Are you?
I used to be one when I was a paralegal. All right, so we've been gone for a while. We have a lot to discuss. Let us begin to discussing with the most important thing that happened to Friday night since Tuesday night. And
the Fox deal actually happened.
And that is, while being purchased by Disney, Fox found time to purchase.
Yeah, this is one of those weird ones where it's Fox. What's left of Fox is gonna have the TV rights to SmackDown, but and Disney doesn't get the Fox broadcast networks, right?
No, they get
everything that's on the.
Yeah,
they're going to own
Fox
everything
Sports.
That's on there.
They don't get Fox Sports.
They don't get Fox
News.
No, obviously,
right?
Because why would they don't want?
Who doesn't want a dying corporate brand where they're literal? Your median age is literally 58, I believe, is the most recent updated.
Something Vince would buy.
XFL, MAGA Sports.
Yeah.
But no. So
yeah, that's totally going to be on Fox Sports.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the reason why the purchase probably happened.
Oh yeah.
So Fox buys the WWE SmackDown product for what, like?
Well, they don't own.
Well, okay,
but
they own the rights.
The TV rights. They're gonna.
Right.
They're making more money by having SmackDown leave USA. It's like $1 billion deal or something.
Yeah, just a cool Billy.
Yeah, just $1 billion.
Slide that guy right in.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this, Jesse?
I mean, we've talked about it before, like the whole, how do you reconcile being a liberal wrestling fan and, or being a liberal and a fan of the WWE, which obviously is deeply rooted in, like, conservative, politics. And,
Oscillate.
There we go.
It's very warm.
A little bit. I don't know how I feel about it, but because there was always that rumor that Fox might physically buy the WWE, but this isn't that. And it's good for WWE. It's good for, it gives them more money, it gives them more.
You know what I think it's really good for, believe it or not? I think it's good for everybody not in the WWE. If the WWE, which is, by the way, covered by ESPN now and now going to be on Fox, along with the UFC.
Yeah. And obviously they are going to have, the coverage on, the Fox on Fox Sports.
Sure.
They're going to get
what
good exposure is the word, the buzzwordy thing I'm trying to.
Yeah, it's going to be good exposure for a company that doesn't need exposure. But what it's really going to do
mainstream legitimacy.
Well, it's going to. I believe there's going to be a nerd style backlash because if there's one thing nerds hate, it's you getting into our sandbox.
Yeah.
So if this shows up on Fox, as it will, it's going to be on Fox Sports. It might even be on the regular Fox station.
No, it's going to be on Fox. It's going to be on Fox on Friday nights.
I was going to say there might even be possibility the rumblings of WrestleMania being broadcast live on Fox as well, like the Super Bowl,
which would be cool.
It would be neat, but what you'll probably see is a lot more of the hardcore fans gravitate towards the
your Punk Pros, your Fests, your
Well, I was going to say New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Well, that too. That too.
But New Japan Pro Wrestling is
because since we're American, we can ignore the fact that it's owned by the Yakuza.
Whoa! If we're going to start ignoring things owned by mafiosos, we're going to have to ignore wrestling, boxing, UFC.
Oh, I ignore those last.
The current president.
Every day I try to ignore.
You're just gonna have to stop doing a lot of things. So,
that's the whole thing.
I'm sure it's somewhere. I told you that story. I think the Fox deal is a bigger bugaboo on paper for nerds like us.
Yeah,
and it gives people with podcasts and dirt sheets and clickbait articles to write. But ultimately, it's just a TV channel.
No, it's a TV channel.
When it went to Spike, when it was TNN, did you really care? Did you really care?
No. And it's not like the Fox broadcast network is this like MAGA jerk off
And
channel.
even if it was, you'd still watch
well,
it.
but like look at some of the other programming that is, the flagships of Fox. You've got like The Simpsons and Family Guy, and Seth MacFarlane's shows certainly don't skew conservative.
Well, no,
so it's not in that regard. Like, there's nothing to. I don't think there's anything to worry about.
It's going to be the same product.
Yeah.
If nothing else, they've proven that. Apparently, there's a war going on upstairs.
Yeah, it's fine.
Although there are 2 kittens locked in a small room, so entirely possible.
Yeah.
There is nothing. Huh?
The horror.
The horror. There's nothing to worry about as far as the product is concerned, except for I think more PG, more stable.
Oh, it's gonna be safer. It's gonna be
If I may though, perhaps safety isn't such a bad thing.
I agree. Poor fucking Takahashi.
Give me an inverted dragon suplex cradle. Just do it. I'll be fine.
Literally, pick me up. Like that. That's literally all it's gonna be. It's just okay. Just pick me up and just flip me up and just drop me right on my head. That's the finish.
I think the bump is supposed to be like he was supposed to rotate more.
No, I'm sure it was supposed to be a little more on the shoulders. It was supposed to be more on the shoulders, but he ended up landing like top of the noggin.
Yeah,
and yeah,
I don't know if we need that per se.
No, I think
so. Perhaps. I mean, you could give Randy Orton a lot of shit for not really evolving much as a character, but
or the Miz, Miz is the joke that he's the king of safe style.
Oh, but what an asshole!
Yeah, but how many times has he gotten injured? How he's just he's better
retired.
now than he was.
He's been retired for a long time.
Yeah,
right. He's just broken. Oh wait.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, we can argue that forever, but I think Fox getting the WWE SmackDown is really.
I mean, it's only gonna be better for the company. It's gonna put more money in the company, and more money in the company will eventually. I hate to use this term, trickle down. It'll trickle down to the stuff that we care about with
Well, yeah.
Without money, there's no NXT, there's no NXT UK, there's no 205 Live being great.
You can even go even further than that, even deeper. You look at a company like MLW that signed a TV deal with beIN Sports, a very small cable network, very, very, very minute as compared to Fox.
Yeah.
And because they made that TV deal, lots of wrestlers get to wrestle a different style, a better style perhaps, but a different style. So them signing with the WWE might not be so terrible, but it does lead to an interesting crossover of events happening 1 week ago. Daniel Cormier proved once and for all that he might be the best goddamn fighter on the planet.
That's true.
Which I've been saying for a while now, because what is the one thing you're supposed to do in fights, Jesse? Win. You're supposed to win. And Daniel Cormier has won all of his fights, save for one, but that should technically be vacated because Bones Jones can't keep his nose clean, very literally. So,
Bones Jones. I'm so removed from MMA, but I know all about the Bones Jones stuff.
You listen to those two jerks.
Yeah, I listen to that's my MMA. That's my MMA knowledge.
So Daniel Cormier had a fight this weekend against
Stipe Miocic.
Thank you. Who's
I don't know why it's stuck in my head that I can actually remember Stipe Miocic.
He's actually from Cleveland.
Is he from Cleveland?
Yeah. It just has.
I figured he was gonna be like. I figured it was gonna be like Croatia or something like.
Is that a Polish name or a Russian name? I don't know.
I don't know.
Either way, yeah, he's from Cleveland.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, he's from Cleveland. Good heavyweight fighter.
Flurgenborgen McFlorgenborgen from Sarasota, Florida.
Hey guys, Flurgenborgen. How you doing? So they have their fight. It was billed as a super fight. The super fight that everyone wanted would have been Bones Jones versus Stipe, but again, Bones Jones not to be found. So they had to go with the next best thing, which is Daniel Cormier, who is what, Jesse?
He wins.
He's undefeated.
Oh, he's undefeated.
Save for that one loss. But again, we're not going to get into that. So
you got something wrong with your nose, Rick?
No, not at all. So they had their fight.
Hell of a drug.
They had their fight, and not only does Cormier win to become a dual champion.
Yes, I thought that was pretty cool.
but he won very convincingly.
Did he? I absolutely didn't.
Via punch in the face. So that is always a good victory to have.
Of course,
when you de-jaw someone. So Daniel Cormier in the middle of the ring in the UFC's octagon, holding both belts. And of course, we can't have, because as any good pay-per-view or any good television show, you can't end the show without somebody going, hey, what about next time?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Join us next time as...
Yeah.
And lo and behold, the one-time WWE Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar,
that's still a thing.
Descended from the heavens to grace us with his personage, but for a few moments.
I'm imagining you saying that. I'm imagining Brock actually coming down with like Seek and Destroy playing.
No. I mean, that's good. But I would prefer you think of him more as one of the like Space Marines from Warhammer 40K, where he's like draped in like all of these like biblical like texts and things, but he's got this giant blue armor all over.
But his pants are still tucked in.
So you would have to.
Yeah.
You have to do that. And then he's got the Jamberry title with him wherever he goes.
No, he didn't have the title. That's my favorite part about this whole thing.
So Brocky Lesnar is now going to challenge Daniel Cormier for
next year. That's Cormier's next challenge. Well, I would imagine
his heavyweight title.
Yeah, because I imagine at some point he'll defend his light heavyweight title between then and
But why Jesse Long? Is it going to be at least a minimum of 6 months?
Because he still has 6 months left on his USADA suspension.
And what do you think is going to be the main event? Where do you think that's going to be broadcast? That event.
Wait, is it supposed to be at the Garden?
Well, I don't know, but wouldn't you assume that if you have the UFC and you have the WWE, I know it's SmackDown and not Raw.
Yeah.
But how great would it be to have the WWE versus the UFC on Fox?
Oh wow, I didn't even think about that. No, that would. I mean, that's some synergy that would get.
Unicron. Very erect.
Just. There's a little clip of the show that I'm gonna have to pull out.
Unicron. So look at all the cross promotions and the synergizing.
Yeah.
And you know what that really means, Jesse Long, more than anything? Brock Lesnar will not lose that Universal title until a minimum of June.
No, he's not losing that belt until at least the Royal Rumble. And then at that point, they're just gonna hold it on to him until Mania, which is March. And then
whenever this fight happens, he's got to be.
Yeah, his suspension ends in January, assuming he pisses clean from here until then,
or somebody says so.
Yeah.
Or they just hold the fight somewhere where USADA does not necessarily care. Like, I don't know, Russia.
Oh God. That's you need some extra tinfoil there, Rick.
You gotta listen to me, folks. They're turning the frogs gay. All right? You gotta understand that I've tested them. I've smoked the chemicals. They're turning the frogs gay.
Where else? There's a war on info you got there going on.
You know where else USADA doesn't test?
Where?
Places like Saudi Arabia.
Oh, greatest Royal Rumble. Dan Cormier first, and then Braun will cash in on Cormier.
So there's a really good chance that Brock Lesnar will hold that Universal title,
or he's gonna lose it real soon. He's either gonna lose it real soon, or he's gonna lose it forever, like in an eternity.
They might as well just make a new belt.
Yeah, I tweeted out a joke, and I was being, it was a joke, and I didn't expect anyone to respond, but it was just for my own amusement. I tweeted at, I think it was at Kurt Angle, Baron Corbin, Stephanie McMahon, and someone else. I was like, hey, are you guys gonna come up with like a world title for Raw soon, or is that just the Intercontinental title now? Yeah.
You know, you could have-
the thing that makes it so like it. On one hand, I'm glad I understand what all of this bullshit has been for this past, Brock not losing at Mania, Brock not losing at Greatest Royal Rumble, Brock literally vanishing off the face of the earth and then completely ignoring the 30-day to compete thing or whatever. Just going, oh, well, Brock doesn't. Brock can do whatever the fuck he wants. Like, literally saying Brock can do whatever the fuck he wants on TV. Just ignoring all that. At least we know what the payoff was. This is the payoff.
Well, the cross-pollination, because I don't.
But even then, it wasn't even good. It's not like he had the Universal title. I said this in text. The number of people who know that A, Brock Lesnar is in the WWE, B, that the Universal Championship is a thing, and C, that Brock is a champion in the WWE.
You thought that the number of people who watch the UFC and know that Brock is the WWE's Universal Champion was very low.
I think it's low.
I disagree. I think that the number of people who watch the UFC and watch WWE television regularly is almost 100%.
You think so?
I really do. I don't think you have to be a UFC fan to be a WWE fan.
I mean, obviously, like I'm a wrestling fan, and I haven't watched UFC in.
I just think if you're watching the UFC, there is a good chance you're watching the WWE or you're aware of it.
You're aware. Yeah, I can understand that.
There's just not that many people who watch specifically the UFC. Like I train with a lot of guys who don't watch the UFC.
Well, you have a little bit more of a I'm not gonna say bias, but you're involved in MMA,
right?
So.
And I can tell you that a lot of people who are in MMA don't pay attention to the UFC anymore because
I'm more interested in I'm interested in things that happen with you at the Jungle, but I give a flying fuck about the UFC.
It's hard to care.
Yeah, there's last time I checked, there's probably about 2 different fight nights going on right now.
It's hard to care about a product that is always on.
Yeah.
It's hard to get hyped about it.
One thing I find kind of funny, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, express this point clearly, but I think WWE painted themselves in a corner because Brock holds a championship that sounds really stupid. And, what was it? Cormier did an interview on Conan after he won.
After Brock shoved him.
Yeah, after Brock shoved him and said all the curse words he could think of.
Well, not one of them, or he would have Papa John'd himself right out of it.
Okay. He said well, not his favorites, because again, Papa John. Yeah. But he said a lot of them. He said our favorite curse words.
Cunt punt.
Why is that not a shirt? That'll be the next Punk Pro show. Punk Pro Cunt Punt. That'll be the
cunt be saved.
Hashtag cunt be saved. Let's get that trending. Nobody watching. Anyway,
there's a good chance Chad does not sit with us now.
We'll make him sit with us.
Just fine.
Every time he moves, we'll just
hey.
We're gonna sit. We're just gonna keep on sitting. Duct tape him to a chair. You're with us now.
We're all wearing shirts.
Yeah. Cheer. Show hasn't even started. We're just sitting in the crowd. They're setting up the ring.
That's what happened at the New Japan show. There were chants.
Oh yeah, so you went to New Japan.
I might as well talk about it.
Well, anyway, the thing I was gonna say, and then you can talk about that, is that Cormier was on Conan, and he talked about winning, and then some stupid other shit, and then he mentioned Brock because you can't get around, and then and obviously that's what WWE wants, is them, people talking about one of their people on mainstream television. I don't know how many people. I don't know how many people are actually watching Conan. But, do you remember Conan? Yeah, do you remember when Conan was the thing? Anyway,
he was on.
Yeah, ironically, TBS. We were talking about TBS earlier.
Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon. Anyway, and he referred, and you could see because Cormier is a WWE fan. It's
Sure.
been established that he actually is a fan of the WWE. But he had to stumble around. He referred to Brock as just the WWE World Heavyweight Champion or something like that. You could tell he had to stumble around the Universal title name, and I feel like that. I can just see if somebody says Brock Lesnar, the WWE Universal Champion, I can see Conan making fun of the stupid ass name of the Universal title, and that's not what WWE needs right now.
I wish they had really thought that out more,
Yeah.
because I know we all know what they were going for. The universe, the WWE
The
universe.
WWE Universe is their thing. It's
Yeah,
their,
so
you know.
the Universe Champion.
Yeah,
But also, that's fucking stupid.
it is.
You should have just called it the WWE Championship and then the World Championship.
Or the
or-
Raw and SmackDown Championships.
Wouldn't that have been interesting? But, you know, I mean, it's not called the NXT title.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Well, it's not called the 205 Live title.
It should be. No, it should. No, the cruiserweight.
You could have the Heavyweight Championship, you could have the World Championship, you could have the WWE Championship, you could have the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, you could have just the championship. How about just two belts? The WWE Championship and the WWE Championship. You could have done that. Universal title is really stupid. Unless it's like, I don't know, something the Swiss Army would come up with. Let me talk to you
Tell me about
CEO Cross New Japan Pro Wrestling presents Shouldn't Be Saved. So I was very fortunate. Our friends
can't reach save points because it was a game. There you go.
I was offered a ticket to go to this event by our friends at the Russian Ruffians.
There you go.
Jay. Oh, thanks, guys. But it was a quick drive up to Daytona. Somebody couldn't join me.
Celebrate my child's birth.
This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Jesse. Your kid will have many births.
Born again every year.
Shut up. He's like Boulder. Anyway, it was really cool because I got to see guys like
Jason and Epic.
Got to see guys like Michael. I can't think of his name.
Oh God, yeah. Remember you told me about it. He was really
great.
awesome.
Anyway, I'm not going to run down the list.
But, you got to see Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yes,
like
yes.
that.
I got to.
I am disappointed that I didn't get to go because that is a for I don't know why, but for some reason Jushin Liger to me is like one of those like bucket list wrestlers I love to see live just because it's Jushin Thunder Liger.
I have a great Jushin Liger story that I don't know if I can share. But it's a great story.
All right, something like that. But Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi. Yeah, the one time you start telling like a story, you should 100 viewers.
Hey everybody.
Yeah. What
What
about Jason?
The biggest story of the night.
That is unfortunate. That the biggest story
was that.
Well, you were saying that it took like a goddamn fortnight to get the actual show started.
Right. So the show was billed at starting at 8:30.
Yeah.
By 9:15, we were told that the show was going to start any minute, and they had like a 10-minute timer on the clock. So the fans started cheering and clapping, and we didn't get our first dark match until 9:30. And the dark match.
I was at Disney while you were there, and I'm literally cackling as you're texting. So you go to this show. It's supposed to be New Japan, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get to see New Japan. Yeah. And the first match after waiting an hour and a half or however long is a match that you've seen a million goddamn times here.
But not quite under these pretenses.
No, yeah, those are some interesting pretenses.
So, it was a production brought to you by Chase and Rance's Ring.
Yeah.
Now, I am on record as saying the following, and I will say it again. If you are arrested for something and you are sent to jail or prison or whatever the case may be, and you serve your time and
house arrest or whatever.
Whatever the judge determines is your sentence, and you do your time and it's over, you should not have to deal with that for the rest of your life. Now, that doesn't mean that you didn't commit a crime, and it doesn't mean that you aren't stigmatized as such.
Yeah.
You are a convicted criminal. In many cases, depending on what that conviction is, that stigma will sort of stick to you forever. Say, like, sexual contact with a person not of the age of 18.
Yeah.
You usually have to go on a list for these things, normally for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Is that unfortunate? Yes. Should you have done that? Yes, you should not have done that.
Yeah, no, you should not have done that.
Now, all of that said, I don't necessarily agree with the amount of backlash that's being given to Kenny Omega and New Japan.
Well, and no, in that regard, I agree with that.
But you had to have known that this backlash would have happened.
Kenny should have been better informed, and I think he has essentially said that. He has agreed that he should have been more informed about that.
I don't think, and to that end, I think that's bullshit. I don't think that happens unless people start saying, why do you have a convicted child molester, child rapist, essentially, on your show? You can't, that is nuclear white hot.
No.
You simply cannot allow that. If you know, going into a card, 90% of everybody involved from the top down, but 10% you're not aware of, you need to know what that 10% is.
I agree with that. I and then
and just let me just finish my thought real quick. All of that said, I feel bad for Chasen in that he will never get out from under this rock.
No,
but I don't feel
he really won't. No,
I don't feel that bad because he was the one who put himself under.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, you could sit here and argue back and forth, but one guy made a bad decision, and he has to pay for it for the rest of his life, as should be the case.
Yeah.
Should that have been the dominant factor of this New Japan show? Maybe it should, maybe it shouldn't have. Doesn't matter anymore because that's what's going on.
Well, it's an interesting thing because we, as members of the Florida wrestling community, the Chasen being a convicted sex offender is it's not news to us. Everybody, if you know thing one about Florida indie wrestling, you know about Chasen Rance, and it's not just because we knew him, it's not just because
Let's move on.
Okay, it was interesting. It's interesting because this was now exposing Chasen to a broader audience, and now it was news to everybody else. Right. It's not news to us, but it was news to all these people who had no idea who the fuck Chasen Rance was. And
more importantly, it was a gigantic misstep by New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
This is your first. You're trying to run these super shows.
Yeah.
You're trying to get your brand into Florida, which is great. The turnout was okay.
How was the turn?
It was not 8,000. It was okay. But you have to be in better control of your product.
Yeah.
Now, that said, it was eventually going to come out that this was Chasen's ring, that it was Chasen helped produce it and all that. But none of that particularly would matter.
No.
You let him wrestle on your show.
Yeah.
And
I think it was that Kenny basically said he produced every single match from the second dark match onward, and that he gave as I guess as a thank you to
which is really kind of asimine, but whatever.
Basically saying thanks for providing the ring. He gave carte blanche to the first match, and for whatever reason, Chasen decided to book him in Epic in a match. And basically, Chasen booked himself in the match, and so Kenny didn't know. It's a big clusterfuck.
What it is more than anything is, I feel bad for New Japan because this was your big, grand opening.
Yeah, no one gives a shit about any of the matches.
Yeah, no. The matches were fun.
Yeah, well, it was a glorified house show.
It was a glorified house show, and when it ended at midnight, I wanted one of our good buddies, EJ, was there. And he and I were texting each other, and we wanted to meet up and talk about the show afterwards.
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ, it was midnight, and this was the entire opportunity. EJ sees me. Hey man, hey EJ, good to see you. I'm going home. I know, brother. I'm fucking tired. All right, bye. And
well, what time did you get home?
I got home at roughly 1:30.
Me too. So we left. You left your show, and I left Disney at the same time, and we were texting each other "Oh my god, we're fucking dying."
If they had taken, if anyone had wrestled in place of Chasen Rance, we would not have this story.
No, anybody, literally anybody.
And if Chasen Rance had not done something terrible and boneheadedly awful.
Yeah.
Not boneheaded isn't even the right word. If he had not made a really stupid decision that ruined his life.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Then we wouldn't be having this conversation. So, to me, you have a person who ruined his life of his own volition. Maybe he needed to seek help and never got it. We'll never know.
Yeah.
A person who ruined his life of his own volition, ruining New Japan Pro Wrestling's opening. But also, there's one thing that I sort of am kind of very curious about this. You know the owner of CEO, the promotion that was doing this with
the gaming
side of things.
Yeah.
You know, he was part of the show.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, he was on he did a couple of moves, even with a broken leg, good on him. It was pretty impressive. How come nobody's going after him?
Oh.
If his name was just attached to the show. Okay, whatever. Dude was actually in a match with Michael Kozawa. Kozawa?
You're terrible at names.
I am. I'm really bad. But nobody's going after CEO. Nobody's saying shit about that.
Yeah, I know.
They're just as culpable.
Maybe it's just because it's like it's a joint show. I don't fucking.
No. Fuck that. It's a joint show.
Yeah.
So if Kenny Omega is being honest and saying, dude, I had a million fucking things to do. And this guy who's like, well, I had to run a show. So you're just going to let a convicted sex offender onto your show. Well, I mean, I didn't want a murderer wrestling, but the murderer got in the ring, and there I was running that Street Fighter tournament, so let me tell you, I couldn't do shit about it. Come on, guys. So, speaking of people in situations...
Murderers?
Kind of. Speaking of people who are in positions of power, booking themselves into stories that maybe they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Did you know... Spoilers. Hold on, spoilers.
Spoilers.
MLW had tapings this week, which neither of us could attend. I
dropped off shirts for one of the talent.
I was working late, and Jesse's not allowed out past 7, or his wife.
I didn't get a permission slip for that one.
Them boys off.
I didn't get a permission slip for that one. I'm only allowed 1 1/4.
During that taping, it was unearthed by those in the audience, because they watched it live, that we have a new MLW World Champion, second ever since the return.
World Heavyweight Champion.
World Heavyweight Champion. Yes, I'm sorry, because we do have.
There's gonna be a middleweight.
There's a middleweight champion, and there's a heavyweight champion. Yeah. Now, even though the original heavyweight champion Shane Strickland only weighed about $180,
the middleweight is the middleweight title is 205 and under.
Great.
That's
great.
Joey Ryan and MJF are the two for that, by the way.
And that's fine. There was a bounty being put on Shane Strickland's head.
By Selena.
By Selena, De La Renta. It was answered first by I don't know, the wrestling panda bear, Penta. Penta could not get the job done.
It's just the evolved version of Oso Panda from Florida Indians.
But not quite the full evolution of the Andres Zeta.
Yeah, Andres the giant panda is the final evolution.
It was then answered by, oh my god, big dude, blue hair, lots of tattoos, fought Gotch in a really
Brody
King. Thank you. And Brody King couldn't get the job done, so then the stock was raised again, and the professional hitman himself, Agent Agent half of 47. What is half of 47? 26. 23.5.
23.5.
So Agent 23.5.
Agent 23 and a half.
Agent 23 and a half scruples. Lotus of Keys showed up to the party and walked away with the belt. Wow, what a swerve.
Swerve on swerve.
So in pro wrestling, we know it's a work.
Yes.
This is a known thing. We all know this.
Spoilers again.
Yeah. Since we all know it's a work, we can't boo or cheer when someone drops the belt, because that makes us marks for caring about the belt in the first place.
Yeah.
So if you boo someone winning the title because you didn't want that person winning the title, you don't like the backstage politics happening, that's good heel work in modern wrestling.
Yeah.
There's one exception. When you get so meta that you're working the workers to work the crowd, you've lost your original point. If this is professional wrestling, major league wrestling, then you can't make the argument that, oh, you're just being a mark. What your argument should be is any man with 2 hands and a pulse has an opportunity to be our champion. Okay, I can actually get behind 2 hands and a pulse.
Yeah.
You and I could fight 100 times out of 100. Maybe I'll win 50, maybe you'll win 50.
99, more like 99 to 1.
But if we fought 100 times and I won every time but one, then that means that you were able to get the job done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I can get behind that. What I can't get behind is the idea that people responding to this title change in negative fashion are being labeled as, oh, get over yourselves. It's just a wrestling show. You shouldn't have been invested.
Yeah. If I shouldn't be invested, then why
did I care?
Why should I plunk down the $15 to go there?
And
or
then the caveat is,
waste my time watching it on YouTube.
And the caveat is, well, if you're so invested, then you must really care about Shane Strickland. I offer you this as a tertiary argument. Perhaps I've watched MLW because I'm a professional wrestling nerd, and I know that MLW is one of the better venues for the kind of wrestling that I want to watch.
Yeah. It's been good.
Nouveau, old school wrestling.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed it. I like going to the show live. The Guilt nightclub thing is very weird, but in a very cool way. I like the Fight Club atmosphere. I'm a fan of this style of wrestling, and I actually take a little umbrage with you putting the belt on someone who didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
Shane Strickland went through the entire tournament. He lost and then won and got on a roll and got hot, and he figured it out, and he beat Jimmy Havoc, and he vanquished all of his demons, and he hoists the fucking belt in the air, and oh my god, it was so cool.
Yeah.
He then defends it 3 times and then loses it. That doesn't feel like a really great run.
He just won the belt, didn't he?
Yeah, just one.
Like,
just
how
one,
long ago?
Essentially a month ago.
It was not that long ago. It was like maybe
two months.
2 to 3 months tops.
Yeah.
Like,
I was really hoping. I was personally really hoping for a very long title run to establish a good.
He's the first champion.
Yeah, to establish a good precedent.
Yeah, give it a good base.
When you change the belt, it should matter.
Yeah.
Perhaps Shane is injured and we won't see him, and they needed to move the belt quickly. Yeah, that happens.
I was trying to like work it out in my head and try to come up with like a benefit of the doubt reason as to why they would just immediately swerve the other direction and put the belt on somebody else. And to that end, if you're gonna put the belt on anybody, that's the wrong choice. I'm not gonna say anybody else on the MLW roster would have been better, but
certainly you could think of more deserving possible champions like Riddle. I mean, to a lesser extent, Lawler. To a better extent, Jeff Cobb.
Yeah, I mean, us going like, oh, they should have put it on Gotch is a little bit like that's a little far.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Simon Gotch has his own thing going right now, but putting it on Riddle wouldn't have been too hard to believe.
No.
Riddle and Swerve had one of the best matches of the year so far across all wrestling.
There's plenty of people on the MLW roster that
I think it was ACH. I'm sorry. Either way, it doesn't matter. There's other guys.
There's other guys,
that can work a style.
Sammy Callahan.
That's a good name.
Sammy Callahan would have been, if you want a heel to have the belt, fucking Sammy Callahan.
But that's what I think the problem is that
and I'm not just trying to say like, oh, we like Sammy Callahan.
No, but he's made him, he's quite the person now.
Yeah.
And he's made himself well known. I don't think he's missed an MLW, but whatever. Sammy Callahan is a heel, except that people cheer him. Nobody cheers Low-Ki. And nobody cheers Low-Ki because he's a heel. No, it's because nobody cares.
No one gives a flying.
No one. If that's what a heel is now, it's X-Pac heat. X-Pac heat is the only true heel heat left in the business.
Yeah.
What are we fucking doing, man?
No, I am at this point in my wrestling nerd fandom that honestly, like, who the fuck gives a shit about Low-Ki? Like, really? I mean, Low-Ki gives a shit about Low-Ki. That's the moral of this story, is that Low-Ki gives a shit about Low-Ki.
Would you have been this annoyed if MVP had won the belt?
No.
Why?
For starters, because MVP didn't book himself to win the goddamn title.
We don't know.
I'm just gonna fucking.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
I'm disappointed in the product as a whole, and I'm not saying that because of any sort of.
Look at the camera.
No, I'm trying to find a point. I any sort of connection we might have to anybody who.
Then look at me.
To anybody who works there, but I thought better of the company. I thought better of that.
That is a good point.
And I'm not gonna pussyfoot around it. I'm not gonna say like just because we know MSL. And I'm not gonna say like, oh, I thought MSL was smarter than that. But I would have thought that the company itself would have made a better decision than to put the belt on Loki, who matters so fucking little.
And who is known for when he doesn't.
And I get it, he's a hit man. It's a hit.
Yeah,
like,
but
whatever.
He's also known for when he doesn't get his way, he does leave companies. It's a known fact that.
I saw somebody put on Twitter. I don't know who it was. I don't know if you reached somebody. You didn't tweet it out, but I saw it was. Who would be surprised if in 6 months Loki tries to hold the company up?
Yeah, for the belt.
Yeah,
he's done it a couple of times already. To me, I'm not worried about that side.
No,
of things. I look at this. I try with everything I do as a professional wrestling nerd. I try and put myself only as a fan. I have many friends on the main roster, many friends on small rosters, many friends on rosters that nobody goes to.
Yeah.
And as much as I know behind the scenes, the one thing that has always worked for me is being a fan. I just want to be a fan.
Yeah.
As a fan, just as a fan, I'm very disappointed that this belt is now no more important than the 205 Live title. And what I mean by that is when the 205 Live champion was crowned at CWC, it was TJ Perkins, which I wasn't terribly excited by. But within like 3 months, he had already dropped the belt, and then it like bounced around 3 times.
Yeah, it bounced around in that first year. It bounced around more times than
before finally landing on Neville, where
it mattered for a hot minute.
It mattered for a while, and now it matters.
And then it's no more. But now it matters again.
Now it matters again. That side of things, to me, is why I'm disappointed. Plus, it happened during TV tapings in Orlando. I don't know why.
Especially when they've got this like hot battle riot show like next week.
If you're going to move the belt, why not do it in New York and let the fans...
if you're going to put the belt on Loki, why not do it in New York?
That would have been, and the rage would have been beautiful. It would have happened outside of the state. You could have had a build where, when he comes back to Florida, Shane gets his belt back. But what makes me more concerned than anything, Jesse, is that the plan is to have Shane win it back in New York to make that.
No, Loki's defending against that. The story they're going with is that per league regulations, Loki has to defend it against all of Shane Strickland's scheduled opponents. So at Battle Riot, he's defending against Johnny Pronoun.
Johnny Pronoun. Then maybe we're looking way too deep into it, and it's something as simple as Shane is very hurt and he needs some time.
Yeah, if it's just Shane, but then again, put it on
because he was the guy who was there. Now
I bet Sami Callihan was there too.
Well, he was the guy that was booked for the night.
Yeah,
I would have much preferred Loki actually be an actual hitman.
Yeah,
and then him being responsible for Shane dropping the belt to someone undeserving, like MJF.
Yeah,
or someone like a true heel dirtbag.
Yeah, who doesn't deserve the title.
Right.
Yeah.
The problem I have with Loki winning the belt is that...
Or Tom Lawler. Tom Lawler fluking into the belt would... Yeah.
The problem I have with Loki winning the belt on top of all this is that I know he could have done it without being the booker.
Yeah.
Like, I believe that Loki could be a champion. I believe he is a murderous son of a bitch.
Oh, of course.
Coincidentally enough, I've seen him in Homicide actually almost kill Jason Rance.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So, a lot of this is me going, huh? What the fuck?
I don't even like it when 2K18 books my character to win the title in my stupid indie fit.
So,
I feel guilty.
One last thing before we get to the breakdown here. As we've alluded to, Jesse Long potentially will be going to Punk Pro Wrestling Presents Can't Be Saved August 26th at the War Memorial.
The Gulfview VFW War Memorial Armory.
Sportatorium.
Sporta Armory.
Sportatarmory. I like that. Sportatarmory.
Sportatarmory.
And in that, we will be seeing many wrestlings, but more importantly, we will be seeing, finally, live and in person, the Professional Wrestling Nerd Radio Network title being defended by our champion, Daddy Effie, against a challenger of his choosing.
Yeah. Who do you pick, Rick? Tell us who he picked. Because anybody who's listening to this already knows. But let's just...
He picked an 11-year-old.
He picked an 11-year-old girl. Yeah! He picked Izzy.
Look.
He picked Izzy.
If you go back and watch enough wrestling, you will see the two hottest wrestlers on the planet. One, Ibushi, fighting a rubber doll.
Yeah.
To a 5-star match. And if you look further back,
5-star match and a 5-point broken neck.
If you look further back, you will see the other hottest wrestler on the planet, Kenneth Omegastine.
Really hot.
They didn't kiss. So pissed. Anyway,
I think there's like I don't know what it is. It's like a CD or a DVD or whatever. And when you take the of New Japan, I don't know what the fuck it was. I just saw it in passing on Facebook. And you take the disc out. The picture in the back is them like this close. God damn it, this close.
Kiss. Anyway, so Kenny Omega actually wrestled an 8-year-old. That happened.
Yeah,
it did.
And it was a good match too. Ish.
Okay. I don't necessarily like this, Jesse. I do
expound upon this, Rick.
I do. Okay. I love pro wrestling.
Yeah.
I love the chicanery and silliness of pro wrestling. I don't necessarily like the idea of an actual 11-year-old fighting for our title. Now, we don't know what the match will be because we're not there to book it out.
Yeah.
I do know that we've seen images of Izzy actually training.
No, she trains with Santana Garrett,
and I don't
somewhere
know,
like 20 minutes from here.
I don't know if an 11-year-old should be training to be a pro wrestler, but
look, Rick, she wanted to put herself in the business.
Okay,
Effie's gonna put her in the business.
How old was Paige when she got started? Like 13, 16, somewhere around there.
She jokes that she got started in the womb.
Yeah, well,
yeah, she was a child essentially.
We know that William Regal was a child. We know that. That is known.
Yeah, the Hardy Boys very famously.
Yes.
They very famously,
were 16, I believe, when they were. Anyway.
No. Oh well. Yeah, but
when they were actually in a match.
Yeah, in a match. But then
I'm not talking about backyard stuff.
Okay.
I'm talking about actual professional getting paid to be in the ring.
I think they were getting paid as like little 14-year-olds. But anyway, in like the fairgrounds and shit. But.
This is not unheard of.
No, it's not.
It does make me a little squeamish, though. Just a little bit. I can't help but feel just a little weird about this, Jesse. Mostly because, and I have to say, I'm going to be rooting for the little girl to be beaten up.
Well, of course.
Because
why shouldn't
Effie
you?
is our champion.
Effie's our champion. She kicked Effie in the head.
She did kick Effie right
She
in the
tried
head.
to win the Get Your Shit In championship off of Effie. She should know her place. She should know her goddamn place.
So, but you have to forgive me if I'm just a little... Okay.
Hey, Effie's a grown-ass man. They gave him carte blanche to defend the title against who he wants.
Again, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
I am. But part of me is just a little...
You're worried for Izzy's safety, I understand. But you know what? She's signing consent form. Cody and Jenny are all on board.
Oh, God.
The shirt's going to look great.
It's just... Am I so wrong to feel a little weirded out by this?
No, I understand. But
Okay.
you know what?
Okay.
Yeah.
That part of the segment is now over.
Okay.
That girl's going to get killed.
Yeah, she's gonna get killed. Effie not gonna fuck around.
Effie's going to slap her right in the
He made a
face.
blood oath with a demon a few months ago. Oh, I would have paused. So normally I try to save battery on my phone when I'm coming here, but then I forgot. Effie did a really great interview on. Thank you. Effie did a really great interview on I think it's called the Dark Match Podcast. Hello. technical bullshit. All right, there we go.
Dark Match Podcast.
Dark Match Podcast. It's a really good interview. You should listen to it. It's just Effie being Effie, and it's honestly Effie.
And
Effie can.
Before you get started, remember all of this started because I watched one of his promos made possible by our youth outreach affiliate, Michaela.
Yes, this is true.
Who turned me on to Effie, who then turned me on.
So he was on the Dark Match Podcast, and he's talking about he talked about the match with Izzy. He talked about getting into the business. He's talked about basically showing that he's probably one of the smartest motherfuckers in the business. And he's talking about the blood oath with the demon of lust that he did, and he was like, so I made a blood oath with a demon. And he's like, Cranberry, stop eating my crab cakes. That part just, and I made a blood oath with the demon. Cranberry, stop eating my crab cakes, and that was it. But yeah, so
I love that.
Yeah,
I hope we have enough time after Punk Pro to maybe sit down and go to dinner with him, or just talk to him or something. Because
we're officially asking you out, Effie.
Are you into really sloppy looking guys?
Well, you had that thing with White Mike for a while.
Yeah, well, I can't compete with White Mike.
We can't. Whipped cream's expensive. Is it? I don't think it is. I'm broke. Everything's expensive. No.
Why are millennials ruining the whipped cream business?
$11 an hour, Rick. Can't afford whipped cream on $11 an hour.
I needed 2 bachelor degrees to get $12.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited about Punk Pro.
Yeah,
it's the first time since Punk Pro's secret that the entire peanut gallery will be together.
Yes. I'm trying to get as many of our friends to go. Hopefully.
The Golden guys are going to get together again and watch a show together.
Yes. We're
also going to be there. We're going to have Team Hammerfist. We're going to have the Golden guys. We're going to have the Indie Cast is going to be there. I'm trying to think of all of the professional radio network shows.
Yeah, all of our shows. See if we can get somebody like Ben to come along.
I would imagine, as long as he's not busy booking 9 million things.
Yeah.
We can certainly ask.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going
to
be
good. There's going to be a round robin tournament. That's going to be real good. There's a ladder match. A ladder match in the Gulfview Event Center.
But I'm really worried about one thing.
You're worried about Izzy?
Worried about Izzy being our champion.
You never know. You never know who can walk out with that belt at the end of the night.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. And we have the have the run. We had a ref. It's already been a champion.
Frankie, Money in the Frank won the title.
There was the Money in the Frank title.
Yeah.
That happened. By the way, you can.
I think regardless of who wins, I am confident that Daddy will leave the Gulfview Event Center with the belt. He might not win the match, but it doesn't matter about winning the match. It matters if he leaves with the title.
That's right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who wins and loses as long as you punch someone in the face when they're not looking and get a 3 count.
It's fine.
Jesse,
even if Izzy wins the belt, he could easily just duct tape her feet to the floor and no, I don't care. Who the fuck cares about Extreme Rules?
What is even on that card?
AJ versus Rusev for the title.
Hey, Rusev getting the belt.
Rusev's not winning. I don't know. We said Jinder Mahal wasn't going to win the title. Fuck it, who knows? Roman and Bob Lashley are gonna main event for nothing. There's no contendership. They're gonna, the WWE title is gonna be in the middle of the card. A non-title matches with Roman Reigns is gonna be at the end of the card because it worked so great last time. The people walked out.
Will it be an Extreme Rules match?
No, it's not an Extreme Rules match. It's just a match between.
There's not even Extreme Rules?
There's an Extreme Rules match on Extreme Rules, and that is Alexa versus Nia Jax, and that's just a vehicle for Ronda Rousey to come back from her suspension. Air quotes for our audio listeners. What else is on there? Sanity and New Day are going to have a tables match on the pre-show. Andrade Cien Almas is going to have a match with Sin Cara on the pre-show. Team Hell No is back together, and they're going to face the Bludgeon Brothers, but I forget. I think it was Marty and Sarah. They called them the Hammer Husbands, and I'm going with that. Which totally sounds like a tag team name that we would have come up with. Anyway, so Team Hell No might win the tag titles off the Bludgeon Brothers just so Sanity can win them at SummerSlam. Maybe. The B team are gonna face the Leaders of Worlds.
Man, that was a quick fall.
Yeah. What else is on the card? Carmella and Asuka are gonna have another dusty finish. What else is on the card? There's Braun and Kevin Owens are gonna have a cage match because
Very extreme.
Yeah. There's a few the one match that I think I actually would want to see is that Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler are gonna have a 30-minute Intercontinental title match, or Iron Man match for the Intercontinental title. That sounds good.
It does.
That's about it. I've never been so. I don't know. Maybe it's sort of like
There was-
afterglow from the fact that Punk Pro is on the horizon, and all my emotional investment is in that. But I've never given in my 15 years of being a wrestling nerd. I have never given such a shit less about a WWE pay-per-view. That I've never given such a shit less.
All right, Jesse. I think that's as good a time as any. What did we learn this week? What is our lesson?
Our lesson
Expound.
is that Effie is gonna kill Izzy, and we're gonna watch it live.
Anything else?
Um,
You want to actually try and think about what we talked about on the show and maybe surmise the arguments of the day.
what did we talk about on the show?
Talk
I
about.
blacked out.
All right. So the lesson this week, folks, is as you progress in your professional wrestling nerddom and being a better professional wrestling nerd in general, being a fan, a good fan, you're going to come to a few crossroads. One where you have to accept that sometimes the outcomes of matches that are predetermined go against your personal feelings on what they should be. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. It just means that you have to be aware of the fact that even the most likely of outcomes is not likely. And depending on backstage politics, injuries, or any number of things that we can't know because we actually aren't the ones making those calls, you're going to have to accept it. You don't necessarily have to like it, but you're going to have to accept it. The other lesson for this week is wrestling is at a really good place as long as you don't fuck it up. New Japan Pro Wrestling, WWE, ROH, New Japan and New ROH are going to have a big super show
Yeah, at the Garden.
at the Garden.
I'm sure Vince is seething.
They're all very close to being a place where they've never been before. And that is the height, almost to football level in America.
Yeah.
So maybe you should be going out of your way to not book men dressed as women. Maybe you should be going out of your way to not make fun of people for alternative lifestyles. And maybe, and this one's a big one, you should be going out of your way to make sure that the people on your card are not convicted felons. And if they are, you're okay with it.
Well said. There we go.
So, for the American Dadass, I am the Sussman. Rick Sussman? Yeah, that's dope.
You've been doing that for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We are Team Hammerfist, and we are always here to remind you that it doesn't matter the day, and it doesn't matter the time. It's always time for Wrestle Crush whenever. Until next time, where we have more opportunity to gaze lovingly into the future and look off camera left, apparently, because that was the entirety of today's show. We remind you, be a professional wrestling
Trying to
nerd.
find a point up there somewhere in the popcorn ceiling.
It's fine. Be a professional wrestling nerd. Don't be a dick.